You hear it all the time, right? The market was up today. But what does that really mean? You probably think of something like the S&P 500. But here's the thing. What if I told you an index isn't really the market at all? It's just, well, it's just one way of measuring it. So let's dive in and uncover the hidden rules that are secretly driving your investments. All right, so let's just get right to it. Is the S&P 500 the market? The short answer? Nope, not really. Look, it's a huge, incredibly popular ruler, for sure, but it's not the only one. And thinking it is, that can lead to some pretty big surprises about what you're actually holding in your portfolio.
And that right there brings us to what I like to call the index illusion. It's this idea that the tickers we see scrolling across the news are some kind of, natural force of financial gravity, but they're not. They are completely man-made products. They're designed with very specific goals, and even more importantly, they are built on a foundation of very specific rules.
I mean, just take a look at two of the most popular ways to measure the U.S. market. On one hand, you've got the S&P 500. It has this committee that handpicks companies. But here's the catch. They have to have been profitable recently. It's basically a quality filter. Then you've got the Nasdaq-100. It only picks from its own exchange and, get this, it completely kicks out all financial companies. So you have the same country, the same market, but two wildly different portfolios. And why? It's all because of the rules.
So, here's the absolute key takeaway. If you're thinking of an index as just a simple list of stocks, you're kind of missing the point. The best way, the only way really, to think about an index is as a rule book. Every single thing about it, how it performs, the risks it takes, how much it costs you, all of that flows directly from what's written down in that rule book. And if you want the textbook definition, here it is. A stock market index is a hypothetical, rules-based portfolio. Now, let's really zero in on those words. Hypothetical, that just means you can't actually buy the index itself. You buy a fund that tracks it. And rules-based, well, that's the engine driving this whole machine. The rules literally determine everything that happens next.
Okay, so we can basically break this rulebook down into three main chapters, and we're going to walk through them. Chapter 1 is all about selection. Who gets to be in the club? Chapter 2 is weighting. Once a company's in, how much influence or say do they get? And finally, Chapter 3 is maintenance. How do we make sure this thing stays up to date and doesn't get stale?
Now, out of those three, we're really going to focus on Chapter 2, weighting, because honestly, it's the most important rule in the entire book. This is where you see the biggest differences in philosophy, and it really boils down to a choice between two main systems: market cap weighting versus equal weighting.
And the trade-offs here are pretty stark. Market cap weighting is super simple. The bigger your company, the bigger your slice of the pie. It's usually low cost, and it kind of reflects what the market as a whole is doing. The downside? It can get really, really top-heavy. Equal weighting, on the other hand, solves that concentration problem by giving every company the same voice. But, and this is a big but, look at the cost. It requires constant rebalancing, which means a ton of trading, and that means higher expenses and potentially higher taxes for you.
All right, theory is great and all, but let's make this concrete. Let's imagine a super simple market. It's only got three stocks: Company A, Company B, and Company C. And we're going to watch, side by side, how these two different rulebooks deal with the exact same day in the market.
So using the market cap rulebook, everything is based on size. The biggest company, Stock A, gets a massive 50% slice of the index. Stock B gets 40%, and little tiny Stock C, it's just 10%. Just let that sink in for a second. Stock A has 5 times more influence than Stock C before the market even opens. Okay, now for the action. Let's say the biggest stock, A, has a pretty good day. It's up 10%. Stock B is totally flat, no change. And the smallest stock, C, has an absolutely fantastic day. It's up 20%. So what do you think matters more? The big company having a good day or the small company having a great day?
Well, in the cap-weighted world, the answer is always simple. The biggest stock wins. That 10% gain from Stock A gets multiplied by its giant 50% weight. Meanwhile, Stock C's incredible 20% jump, it gets multiplied by its tiny 10% weight, so it barely even makes a dent.
And so, the final score for our cap-weighted index is a 7% return. Not bad, a solid day, but a day that was almost entirely driven by what its biggest company did. But what happens if we swap out the rulebook? What if we use the equal weight rules? Well, now, every stock starts on a level playing field with a 33.3% weight. The math becomes just a simple average of the three returns. And suddenly, stock C's amazing 20% gain has just as much impact as stock A's 10%.
And the result? A 10% return. Now that is a huge difference. Let's be clear. Same day, same stocks, same performance. But one rulebook gets you 7% and the other gets you 10%. See, the rules, they're literally everything.
But wait, that higher return, it doesn't just come out of nowhere. It's not free. Every rule has consequences, and the rules of equal weighting, well, they create their own unique set of risks and costs that you absolutely have to understand. Check this out. After just one single day of trading, look what's happened to our equal portfolio. The weights are not equal anymore. Stock A, the winner, has drifted up, and now it's more than 51% of the fund. The fundamental rule of the index has been broken, and now somebody has to fix it.
So how do they fix it? Well, the fund manager doesn't have a choice. The rule book is crystal clear. They have to rebalance. And that means they have to sell some of the stock that went up, stock A, and use that cash to buy more of the stocks that didn't do as well. It's this forced, mechanical process of systematically selling your winners to buy your laggards.
Now, let's be fair. We can't forget about the risk on the other side of the coin. Cap weighting totally avoids all that rebalancing churn, but it creates a different problem: concentration risk. I mean, in some major indexes today, the top 10 stocks can make up more than half the value of the entire index. Your performance becomes almost entirely dependent on a tiny handful of mega companies. That's not exactly the picture of diversification that most people have in their heads. And this brings us right back to the consequences of all that trading in an equal weight fund. All that constant, systematic buying and selling, that creates high turnover. And high turnover leads directly to higher transaction costs and, yep, lower tax efficiency because you're constantly cashing in gains. It also has a side effect. It systematically tilts your portfolio towards smaller companies and what people call value stocks.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this? It's actually really simple and it's super empowering. It's just this: know what you own. Don't just buy a ticker symbol because you've heard of it. You have to pop the hood, find that rulebook we've been talking about, and really understand the strategy that you are putting your money into. And you can do it just by asking 3 straightforward questions. First, what's the weighting rule? Is it cap weight or equal weight? That tells you if you're buying into the market's consensus or a systematic rebalancing strategy. Second, how concentrated is it? Just look up what percentage is in the top 10 holdings. That'll tell you a lot about your risk. And third, what are the costs? Check out the turnover and the expense ratio. That's the price tag for the strategy.
So let's wrap this up with the one core idea I really want you to take away from this. An index is not just a ticker symbol. It's a strategy, and that strategy is defined by a set of rules. And if you know the rules, you will know exactly what you own and why you own it. No more surprises.
And that just leaves us with one final question for you to think about. Now that you know how the sausage is made, take a look at your own portfolio. Are you really investing in the market, or are you actually investing in a very specific rules-based strategy? The answer? Well, it just might change how you see everything.